Hello, Joaquin, hombre, ¿cómo estás? Okay, so let me give you a rundown of how the site works, how it runs, how to make changes, and do all that fun stuff. So I've made a list of things I want to cover with you to show you how to do some things here. Let's start with just pages. So remember, on the left side, and the good news is that it sounds like you already got you're studying on how to use WordPress, so so a lot of this stuff hopefully you'll already understand, or it'll be pretty easy to understand. Pages is how you control everything on your site. Um, all pages shows you everything that we got right now going on. Just so you know, if you forget, here we have show all languages. This allows you to filter the kind of pages that you want to see by language. So if you select English, it's only going to show you down here all the English languages pages. And if you do Spanish, same thing here, because that's one of the problems that we have with people is they accidentally change to Spanish and then they realize I can't find my pages where they are, and they make more and more and more pages but leave them in English and they never see them. So just remember, keep that as all languages so you can see everything. Um, as you look at the pages, you'll notice that you have English pages, attitude, and Spanish pages, actitud. Every page on your site, since it's multiple languages, is actually two pages. It's the same page twice, basically, and one done in English and one done in Spanish. So any changes that you want to make to one page, you're going to want to make to the other page, so that you are on the same page, on the same page with both of them. Um, as you make changes, or as you make new pages, you'll notice that there are some check marks here on the right. You'll see that this shows which language that page is connected to, and which language it has the ability to see. Example, about us right here is you got a check mark on the English language. So this page is a page designed to be in English. Well, let's go back to attitude and attitude. Attitude, you'll notice the check mark is on the Spanish section. So this is a Spanish level, and attitude is the English version of that same page. So if you open up, let's open up attitude. Edit opens up the title, so you can change the title if you want to change the title, and if you want to change the URL slug, the URL link, you do it here on the right where it says URL slug. Just type in whatever you want on there, and that will become, you see down here, what it'll actually look like. Remember that you can't have more than one page with the same URL slug. And I looked through all the pages again as you had in your last email and made sure that all the pages were correct. So once you got the title fixed up, launch Beaver Builder. I like Beaver Builder because it's very, very, very easy to use, because it's not only drag and drop functionality, but that it's all right in front of you. You can see the changes. Changes in things like, you've talked about video size. One of the things I was trying to tell you in the email that I'm not sure I did a good job with is if you're going to configure the video, click on the little configure bar, the little toolbar. Here you'll see just the player, just the video link. Since I only got a couple of email embed codes from you, the embed code incorporates not only the video, but the specific size of the video. So the easiest way to get the exact size that you want in every video is to use the embed code and to have the exact size, and you'll see 640 by 380 or 1280 by 720 or whatever thing on there you're going to have. Since I didn't have any for those, I just I looked through the HTML and I found the link to the Vimeo page for each of your videos, and then I just copied and pasted that. But I don't have the embed code for most of those, so I just did it this way. But if you want to change the size, literally, you just grab the picture, the link here, and and drag it. There, you see that? And there's two ways you can make these videos here. Here I have a 3-column setup, which I like because it allows me to kind of move things more to one side. If I want to move this more video on this side more, it's not just always right in the middle. All pages are controlled by columns. 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns, depending on how many things you want to add on a column. It's nice because then you have exact sizes on columns that you can put on here. So you can put 1 column here, and there's a column. You just drag and drop it. And if you want to change the module, I want to add a module, I want to drag the video, and boom, drag it on there. So you just drag and drop it, drag and drop, drag and drop. Let's just embed a code, and I don't remember what the hold on, let me find the embed code on this one again. There it is. So there's the embed code on that one. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to put it in this space here. There you go. So that's how you create a, you put the new video in there. So right there, you see the video shows up automatically in the default size, which might not be the size you're looking for. You're looking for a specific size, which is why you want the embed code specifically. But in this case, if you want to mess around with the video and you make it smaller and bigger, it always keeps it right smack in the middle, which might be great for what you're trying to do. But you really can't change it much. These here are the properties for that element, so for this video in this case, and here are the properties for that container which holds the element. Example, we've talked about you've talked about having to change the color of the background. You would change that in the properties of the container, not in the element itself, because the element is in a container. So if I want to change the background color on this, for example, I'll click on the container controls, and here it tells you, by the way, if you want to have a fixed length or a full width, anchura completa. Let's say I want to have full width, so I should click on that. So now you see that it went all the way to the very edge. Before it was only this big, the box. So this automatically makes it full page. It covers the whole sheet right there. And then you can change things such as the color fondo. Like I want to change the fondo. El fondo este aquí. So I'm going to change the color. There's a color, and here's a color del fondo. Change the color to whatever I want to call it. So what I do is I'll click on a color picker that I just have on my Chrome and click on the color that I want to copy. And there's my color. I'm just going to put that color right in there. Oops. Copy. X that out. I'm going to copy and paste it in there. And there you see, now you got the whole background is that color. So that's how you change color in the background of different kinds of elements. Hope that makes sense. So anytime you want to change an element, let's say down here, you want to change one element or the other, literally just go into the container attributes. So again, this is the element attributes. These are the container attributes. Element attributes apply only to what's inside this. In this case, text. Container element applies to everything around the text. So that's where you can change, width and padding and edges and all that fun stuff. And that's it. So let me get rid of this because we don't want this right now. So don't forget. That's just more my test. And I'm not gonna really save this because we just kind of mess with it. But again, I like having the three columns because it allows me more movement, more control of movement on the video. But that's why I do it this way. But again, you can do it just with a single one if you want. It's not a big deal. So it's kind of how you play with it. Again, every box you see, you'll have an element system and a container way of editing it. On this one, remember, this is an accordion element. And you'll notice, remember, that they have little down arrows, they expand and contract. So this is here we go, a module basically. And all the modules you find on that top arrow here on the right. Buttons, HTML code, videos, galleries, maps, images, headings, audio, anything you want you can find on this page. So what I did is I actually looked for and found an accordion, and that's the one I added on there. And there's different kinds of modules you could have. There's tons, and here's an advanced accordion. So there's tons and tons and tons of modules that you can do that gives you all this wonderful technology. And you can find them all right here. And again, same thing. You just grab it, drag it, and drop it, and boom, that's where it is. How this shows up. So I don't want to create that new thing here. So again, for the accordion element, which is what this is here, you click on Edit the individual element, which is the title and the text, and that's how you add and remove text from this section. If you want to change the styling of it, for example, here I can change the text, but I really can't change the font to the fonts that I'm looking for. This is much more limited. So what I do is I actually go up here into the style of the whole element, and here's what I can change the elements in a more precise manner. The color of the text, of the heading icon, the color of the actual text inside, um, the padding on the side of the text, the font. Here's where I picked the Josephine Sans font. Normal weight, 20 pixels is what I've been using for all the normal containers. And then you can change that up and down however you want to do it. So this is how you change the text, and you want to use this system. So just to verify again, you want to change the color, text, size, font of each of these things. Click on the element icon, go to styles, estilo, and then you can go in here and change to the heading, the icons that you can show up on there. Like here's the icons for the arrows, right? So I can replace, if I don't like the icons, and I want to replace them for something else, I click on replace, and here's a whole ton of different icons I can use. If I don't like that arrow, I can use a thicker arrow, I can use something totally different. Um, and that allows me to change these little icons right here. Up and down, and then again the text itself. You can change the color, you can change the padding, the font, the spacing, everything you want on it. And again, just go in here, change the font to whatever you want to change it, the weight of whatever you want, alignment levels, and size of the text. So that's how you change all the text and the information on this page. If you want to add like video elements, things of that nature, or pictures inside here, you can click on where you want to add the picture to, and then add an object right here, and this will pop up in your objects that are available in your library. So you can pick the ones you want on here. You can create galleries, bring it. If you have one that's online, you can just copy it from the and paste the URL for that object, and you can put them in that way too. So lots of different ways you can add this text, and add images and things of that nature on here. And you can also, if you look up here on top, you'll notice that each of these are separate elements. You have a text element here, another element which is the video, another element here which is just an image. That's all it is. And again, edit. You can change the size of the image to be tiny or big. Oh, there we go. Like, see, now it's tiny. So you can play with whatever you want to do in terms of changing the sizes, and you can actually do it manually. Grab it and just shrink it and make it bigger. Now just remember, this affects everything within that container. In this case, that container includes this text here on top. So if I shrink down the icon here, then what it's going to do is it's going to shrink the entire container, which includes the words here. If I want to maybe make this image smaller but not the text, then now just drag this image outside of the container. You see what I'm saying here? If I drag it outside the container, now it's no longer part of that container, so now I can change it independently of this container. You see what I'm saying? So that's how it works. And again, if I want to put it back in, just drag it and drop it in place again. There it is. Now it's part of the same container. So just remember, everything's about containers and elements and modules. So that's how you kind of change with those things. I do not want to save all the changes I've been making here because they're all bad. So that's how you make those changes. In terms of, let's see here, plugins. You know what? Let me go back here in menus first. You talked about, we made a lot of changes to the menus. To get to the menus, go to the dashboard, which is here. Go to Appearance, Menus. Here's where you can change your menus. Here's your home, your general information, all the little submenus. And you'll notice that the submenus are tabbed in or further in than the main menu right here. And that shows you whether it's a top level menu or a submenu, something below that menu. In this case, since I put it lower, put it further inside, then it is a submenu of the top one. So you'll see it when you click the little drop arrow. Let me show you so you can see how it looks here. I want to open up a new page so you can see the background of it. So when you see these down here as submenus of this top menu, that's what that means right there. If I want to make it let's say I want to make this, I'm going to bring it in further. So now it's a submenu to the submenu to the top menu. So if you save that and you're looking, I'll save it just so you can see what it looks like. And I go up here, refresh the page. I'm just opening up two tabs so it's easier to see what's going on. See, now you see here's the menu, here's a submenu, but now here's another submenu right below it. So that's that change we just made. We made it a submenu of the submenu of the menu, which, by the way, you don't want to do. You don't want multiple submenus. You want people to get to the pages that they're looking for very quickly and very easily. If you want to add more information to these menus, you can either add it through here, pages. You can just find the page that you're looking for. So create a page first that you want to add, and then you just click on it, add to the menu, and there it is. And again, just drag and drop to wherever you want to put it, like that. If you want to change whether people can see this when they are logging in or logging out or only under specific circumstances, you click on the drop down and you'll see who can see this link, this menu link. Everyone. That means no matter who you are, where you're logged in, logged out, you can see this menu item. If you don't want that, click on the drop arrow and say, well, I only want logged out users to see it, or I only want logged in users to see it. So for example, the patients tab that we have up here, it's in the top menu, top level menus. I set it up so only logged out users can see it. So while people log in out, they can see that page. But as soon as they log in, that menu will disappear because we don't want them to see it when they're logged in, like you said in your email. So that's all there is to it. You just change, who logged in, and if they're logged in, what kind of user? A kayros Pro provider or just a regular paid member access. And so you can select not only if they log in, what they're able to see, if they're able to see this menu or not, but also more specifically what users are able to see this menu and access the menu. This is how we've got all the other pages hidden, is by doing these. So I'm going to cancel this and get rid of this because I don't want to change. I don't want to move around. So again, we have multiple different menus. So this is your general heading menu. This up here is your top menu. So if you look here, the different menus, select a menu to edit. English header menu. So the header menu, here's the Spanish one, the English one and the Spanish one. Here's your footer, English one and Spanish one. Here's your top menu, English and Spanish. So if you want to change the top menu, I'm going to select that, click select. Yes, I don't want to make any changes here. Now here's all the English ones, Spanish ones, in the very top. So up here in the very top menu. And again, these are available only to logged in users and only to those who are kayros Pro providers or paid member providers. In this case, prerequisites. I think just paid member is all we need on that one. So that's all you do. You change for each one of these, and add the authority on that page of what you want people to be able to access, depending on the level of membership that they have. Now, speaking of membership, let's go back to that and talk for a little bit on that. When people sign up for your system, well, in this case, right now, what we have set up is they send in your happy form, and they send it in to you. So you go in here to the dashboard and Ultimate Member. Here's your users that you have available that are right now that are signed up. In this case, it's just the test person that I have, you and me. Here it tells you what we are. We have paid member access, paid member plus administrator, and again, we can change all those in the edit. Like my test person here right now that I've been using for testing things is right now only a paid member access. So they get to see all the pages except for the kayros Pro information one. So if I want to change that, and again, if you get an email from somebody and you want to add them, just click Add New User. And you can go in, add the user information, give them a username, an email, all that fun stuff, create it up for them, create a password, and you set the role that you wanted to give them to them. In this case, since you're setting them up after they paid for your program, they will be a paid member access. And boom, you add that information. Here you see send a new user email about their account. So you put their email information here. You create a username for them, blah blah, create a password for them. And when you click Add New User, it's going to automatically send to that new person the login information. so they can log in and see all the extra pages. So that's what you do for that. I did leave available a registration, just a generic registration form next to the login screen. So if people want to register that way, so it saves you a little step in terms of that. It doesn't have all the information that yours does. It's just for people who just want to get in there quick. You can do that through the Ultimate Member forms. Speaking of that, Ultimate Member is useful only for anything to do with registrations, logging in, and user access. The forms here in Ultimate Member are only designed for Spanish login, default login, which is the English one here. So if you want to play around with these, you can edit these as much as you want. Spanish login. Let's say say I want to change something in Spanish login. So here's the information: the last name, first name, username, password. This is just basic registration for that. You can change it here, adding more text and all that kind of stuff. Again, this is not really something that that we're probably going to use much, because you want to use your happy forms to be able to get information from people, because it gives you a lot more information. In fact, so don't worry too much about these, because these are all already preset and they work just fine for what we're trying to do. Let me show you how to play with the forms that you can actually use, because that's going to be more important. So Happy Forms. Happy Forms is the program that you found, and you have here the first consultation and primera consulta. Remember, everything you do, you got to have an English and a Spanish equivalent. You'll notice here you have something called a short code. Short code is how you add that information to your pages. So in this case, this is the first consultation form is Happy Forms ID 902. So let's say I need to edit something. So I'm going to go to Pages, and I want to edit something in this first consultation form. So I'm going to go find the first consultation form. Here's that page for it, and I'm going to edit it. Go to Beaver Builder to edit the actual form itself, the page where the form is at. And here's where this is: the first consultation text, the intro text you talk to people about, personal information, and here's the form. This form is not really here. This form really is just that Happy Forms ID, the short code. So if you want to make changes to the form, you have to do it in Happy Forms. If you want to make changes to the page that has everything in it, including the form, then you got to make changes in the page. So if I want to change this lacks text, click on Edit, change the text, save, and you're good to go changing things there. And again, you can change color, and you can change things. You can even change the container, the background container for this form, make it a different color. So you can do a lot of things. So just to clarify, this is the page that people go to, and it has many containers. One container has heading and text, another heading and text, and one of the containers contains the form that you want people to fill out. If you want to change this form, you'll notice again that this is just the short code for it, because it's a Happy Form. So to change the actual form itself, you go to Happy Forms and change it there. So again, first consultation, I want to play with this. So I click on Build, and form pops up. There it is, and there's the form. And now that's where you can add more information. Click on the text items, add more. Oops, I just added a text item. Email. There it is right there. So you click on what you want. Here's a bunch of options that you can add on there, and there's even more you can select here down. And you can add more information. And again, it's not difficult to do. You can edit things in it. When you click on edit, you can change the text of that form to say whatever you wanted to say. If you want the title to be above the form here. You want it to be left of the form. It'll show up on the left side here. This little title will be here. Inside, it'll be inside the form. So you can change around, and you can play around with this form to see what style you like best. And again, whatever changes you make here, remember to make the same changes on the Spanish version of the form. So I'm going to X out so I'm not saving the mess ups I'm making here. And that's how you change the Happy Forms. Now, in terms of wider stuff, headings, footers, things of that nature, you want to go to Appearance, Customize. This gives you the ability to change things on a wider scale. So far, the things I've shown you, the pages and everything else, have to do with changes on a small scale. If you want to change things on a large scale, you want to change it to the actual site itself, you go here, so customize. Here's all the presets. Presets basically have an already set way of parameters that include colors, fonts, and everything for the overall site. So let me give you an example. I'm going to go modern here. This will change your entire site all in one shot to a different style. Something like this is gives you, now you have a phone number here available instead of kind of things as well. So this modern style has a different kind of look to it. Let's say stripe style. What is that? I don't even know what this is. And this is, oh, that's kind of nice. You know, a nice little blue heading here at the bottom, which is kind of cool. So this again, this kind of changes the overall styling of the entire website. So if you want to change something over a whole website, this is a really simple way of just using one of the defaults that already as a preset already set up for the entire site and use that. I'm going to go back to default, go back to the one that we had originally for you. But if you want to make instant changes all over the site, that's a really easy way to do it site-wide in one shot. General allows you to control the layout. The layout is of the whole website. If you want the whole website to be full width or smaller in, how wide do you want the content? Do you want again, some of these things don't mess with. The width of it, layout, background. Again, the color of the whole background for the whole website. That's something you can do that there. Accents, headings. What kinds of fonts you want for all the headings to happen. If you have a heading 1, what size is it going to be? If you want, so you can change things. Again, this is all on the global scale. The buttons, again, you can do custom style buttons and change the colors of your buttons, for everything that you see. I don't remember if we have many buttons on your site here, but you can change the color of the button, the color of what happens, what color changes when you put your mouse over it. Lots of things you can change here. That's your general tab. Header. Here's your header, the top here, the part here in the top, and you'll notice 3 things here: top bar, it's the information; header information; and nav bar information. So the top bar layout is and this is, by the way, a preview screen where you can see everything, allows you to change everything up here in the very top. So the layout allows you to change your 2 columns. Let's say I want to make it 1 column and just cover the whole screen with 1 column. Click on 1 column, and menu. I put a column, but I didn't put what the column is going to have, so I need to have a menu in there. There's a column, so there it is. But now it's all smack right in the middle, taking the whole space. And that's if you have 1 column. If you have 2 columns, you're basically splitting this in 2. So you can add more information. Let me give you an example. Let's say that so now the top bar is in 2 columns. You see that? There's 1 column here and 1 column here. So let's say that you got too much stuff on this page and you want maybe the English and Spanish one to show up here. So you'll notice that there's ways to change menus and to do that. So you just kind of select the menu you want to put on it. You have to create a new menu in which you can add the English Spanish, but you can do that and change it here. But you'll notice again, these are all side to side. You can't really add things in a third level. You can override, if you can get too fat, but you can't really add it on purpose to a third level. So be careful with that. Top bar style. And again, you can change the coloring back here, this back side. If you want to change how it looks, you can do that. You can change the opacity of that background. Yes, if you want gradient, if you want the text color to be, the link colors to be, all those changes are controlled here in the top bar. Same thing with the header. Header layout. Navigation on the right puts the navigation buttons and everything on the right, logo on the left. If you want to go navigation left. Again, this is all global stuff, and this is so everything that you change here will change in the entire website. Now you see the logos on the right side and the menus are all on the left. Nav centered. It's kind of cool. It has your logo on top and the buttons on the bottom. So again, these is all things you can play with. You can fade it. You can fade the logos in. You can shrink to it. You can make it padding, wider on the system. See that? You can make it, padding on everything else. So you can do a lot of changes. It's like, here's another more dramatic example. If you click on nav vertical left, instead of having the menu on top, now you have it on the left side. A lot of new websites are going menus on the left instead of on the top, since everyone else does on the top, and that makes them stand out some more. And this kind of makes it nice because you have this here information on the side and some on top. But again, it's all up to you how you want to do it. I'll put you back to where we were before here on the half right. But again, these are all just great ways to change settings globally on this system as well. Again, navigation layout. If you want a navigation icon for them to be able to search through your website, you can enable that as well. And if you look up here, where did it show up? Somewhere up here. I might not have enabled it. Probably here before this. You can actually see a little lamp that allows you to search for things. Responsive navigational toggles, hamburger icon. If you want to, let's say we're gonna change the site and see how it looks when it's responsive. So like this is kind of more like the width you would see in a cell phone. You'll see that this is now the bottom navigation has become hamburger icon. This is what they call hamburger icon. So it's a way to see the menu in a different format, navigation, hamburger. Or you can actually have a menu button. So there's lots of different ways you can alter how things look and how things function. Again, this is all controlled here through the navigational layout. Small devices, large devices, responsive collapse, which means things change all one at a time. So all that stuff you can play around with and see what works on there. As long as you don't save anything, don't publish your changes, you can play with your heart content and see what you like and don't like, and play with it and have fun. And as long as just don't save the changes. But here you can preview what they're going to look like. Background, if you want a nice gradient background for this whole section right here, you can do that as well. You can add an image back here if you want. Again, it's all possible through the customized section here. So again, general header content. This is for the main content of your website. Same information. Content background, layouts, light boxes for popping out images, footers. Here's you talk about the footers. Your footer layouts. This is the bottom here, the bottom part down here. It gives you control of the footer itself. You can say what kind of coloring you want in the footer. The link colors, you see that they're blue and it's blue here, so you can change that link color. Here's the text on the brown color. You can change that too. Footer style, you can change. Oh, I thought we were right here now. Parallax allows you to make it so. Well, I don't like that. So when you scroll, it looks like there's a picture in the background. For the footers, you're not really going to care about it, but you'll be able to see those kind of things. So all these allow you to change the style and the look. Like here's a 2-column layout. You can do a 1-column layout for your footer, and it changes everything to become 1 column. But now the problem, of course, here is you have 1 column and one in which you had your menus, but the other columns where you had your little copyright statement. So that's why I have, in this case, 2 columns, and there's your copyright statement here. So if you just basically add text on your second column, you can select. You want social icons, social media, and this is, by the way, you can do the same thing in the header. If you want, like up here, if you want to have social media icons, to attach any social media sites that you create, you just select in the header social media icons for the second column, and connect them. So it's not hard to do. In this case, I wanted this copyright statement down here, so I added a text for the second column, and it just typed it in right here, and that shows up right there. And that's how you change your footer. So that's footer control. Widgets, control, menus, same thing. This is the same thing as the menu thing we were looking at before. In terms of things such as changing, let me go back here. Since we're logged in here, we're not going to be able to see the coloring, because remember we erased the ability to see the icons once you're logged in, and this screen we're logged in, so I can't see the patients and first consultants in this one. So I'm just going to drag this other browser here so you can see those. So first consultation and patients, you have the little box around it that you liked. All that, this is not a function, this is something that you add through CSS. CSS is just the language of the internet, of how websites see information. So if I want to change something on here, I go to additional CSS, and this is what I did to create these, where is it again? There it is. To create these boxes here. So basically, if you want to change something on the box, you let's see if I can do it this way. You right-click on the box. I'm in Chrome, by the way. Click, let's say you want to change this pro information, add a box around that. Right-click on it, click Inspect. That'll put me to CSS, to the actual back of the information. And you'll see what each of these buttons, you see I'm scrolling back and you actually see all the buttons there. You can actually see what the buttons are actually, as I move around, you'll see these here. So if I want to change, this specific thing here, that's this one highlighted right here, you'll notice it has a title. It's called, LI means, is the name of the title. It's called Menu Item 575, right there. You see that? So if I want to change that menu item, I copy that information here and you put it over here. So menu item 983, 984, 990, 964 are these two buttons. Okay, so all I'm saying here is I want to have a border 1 pixel thick, which is what it did there, and I want it to be a solid. You can have lines or whatever you want to do in there. I want the border radius to be 1 pixel, so to cut sharply. The more you increase the pixel, the radius, the rounder the object becomes. That's why the first one you had a pixel of 10, and that's why it's more circular than the square one. Let me go back to this so you can see this. There we go. Menu item, so border radius 1 and border color. And so I basically used my color picking tool and found out what color this blue was, and just colored the same element in that same color so it looks the same. So that's all I did to make the boxes around it. So this is a little more complex because this requires CSS. But again, it's not that hard to do. This is literally, you select the menu item you want to have. Open bracket means start changing things on this one. Close bracket means end changing things on this one. And the semicolon controls what kinds of changes you're going to make. So let me go over here and say I'm going to change border, and it gives you the options. Border bottom width, border cotton, whatever it is. You can change, all these things in it. By the way, if you make a mistake, you'll see this unexpected colon here. It shouldn't be here. Just you don't have all the information you need. Because I'm just kind of playing around with it. Margins, for example, on the ones that, first consultation is a long word, and the box surrounds that word pretty well. But patience is a smaller word, so when I initially put the box around it, it became a very small box, not nearly the same width as this one. In fact, it's still a little tiny bit smaller, but you can play with that. So what I did is I actually went here and changed the padding color, the padding length, the padding width. So I went further out the box, further back on the left and on the right, and made the boxes bigger. That's what I did. So I just changed it over here. You can just come in here and say, 35. And of course, I might have to publish the changes, and I don't want to make any big changes to you here. I'll publish it so you can see what it look like. I'll just change it back. So if I'm going to change it, and this is for there we go. You see now that this is wider here, that's because I made this 35 pixels in width. So you can make it bigger, on this side and on this side. Padding left, padding right. So that's how you make the boxes bigger and smaller. Just change the pixel length on this. Put that back here for you. Okay, so that is it on that end. So again, this is how you're gonna make any changes to boxes or add boxes. If you want to add another box, again, you just copy this code straight out, and just copy and paste this down below it, and you'll have that box already made for any other things you want to add boxes to. So that's the CSS, and that's I would encourage you to limit how much you play around with this, because you can definitely break the site pretty quick if you don't know what you're doing on there. This is pretty simple stuff, but be careful. And the problem, of course, is the more customized changes you make to the website. If, let's say, Beaver Builder comes up with a change, a massive update that changes a lot of the code, and you've already made all this code before, as soon as you update the plugin or the theme to a new one, it's going to wipe out all the changes you made. So, limit the amount of customization that you make, because it just limits the amount of post work you have to do to make sure everything transfers over as well. Which also reminds me, you'll see I've updated everything right now on it, and here's your plugins, by the way. This is everything that adds functionality. And you know this because you installed the Happy Forms already. You'll see a little circular thing that shows how many plugins need to be updated or have an update available. You don't always have to update, but every once in a while check to make sure that at least important things are updated. If you don't need it, like I was testing this for headers and footers, and I didn't really use it, just delete. Okay, and get rid of the plugins that you don't use. You don't want to have too many plugins. The more plugins you have, the more potential they have of one conflicting with another. So kind of keep those at a minimum. As I know, 5 to 8 is about the average of what you want to have in terms of plugins. Some of these are less uh, resource heavy, like Smush just compresses your images so they don't take up as much space, make it easier to upload images and not take too long to upload your website. So that's pretty simple on that end. So that's all there is to it. One more thing I want to talk to you here is insights. Um, One of the keys for a successful website is analytics, is understanding when people are showing up, what are they doing when they get there? Monster Insights has a connection to analytics. To do that, you need your Gmail, but you need to be able to log into your Gmail. So you just click on Configure Analytics. On the bottom, you'll see a Launch Setup Wizard, and this is, you get information. What kind of site do you have? And this will connect you um, to your Gmail. So this is all my emails. But you just click on your Gmail and log in with that, and that'll connect you to analytics to be able to have access to that information. What the value of that information is quite significant. Knowing if analytics, basically, I don't know how familiar you are with analytics, but it allows you to track customer interaction. So if a person comes in and spends 5 minutes on one page, but only 1 minute on another page, and you see that all over the place, that tons of people are spending a lot of time on this page and very little on the other page, that tells you something, right? It tells you that maybe this page that's getting a lot of attention, it's important. People are liking that, is useful for them, so maybe you want to take some time and add more information to that page to increase engagement, make them stay even longer. The longer you can get people on your page, the faster, the easier it is to get them to convert into a sale. At the same time, if you see one that people show up and then they're gone 10 seconds later and 10 seconds later and 10 seconds later, chances are they're not finding what they're looking for on that page. So that can give you a hint of, you know what, maybe I need to change that page or just delete it altogether if it's not really converting anybody. So knowing who's showing up, and analytics will tell you things like demographics, what part of the world they're coming from, their age groups, how old they are, what kind of computer they're using to access your information, how long they're on each page, what page they jump to from what page to what page, so you can see kind of the flow of people. So if you see people going to one page, and then everyone cuts off there, and they're not getting to the last contact me page, then there's something missing in that page that's there. You see what I'm saying? So understanding what customer behavior is on your website is critical to help your business to grow. So I strongly suggest you set up this program with analytics and start. Just take it. Take again. Sounds like you're good at taking some YouTube classes. There's lots of classes, easy classes on learning how to use analytics and how valuable a tool it is. So use that to connect and to learn from your customers, and that'll be and interestingly enough, that is even more important than how wide your video is or or the font size of your text. I mean, all these things are okay and stylish, but what really matters is the content that I have in there engaging the people, or the pictures that I have in there engaging the people a lot more than the color and all these things. People want information. People want answers to their questions. So let that drive what kind of content you add on your website, what kind of pictures you add on your website, what kind of videos you add on your website, and that'll make the biggest difference in terms of helping you grow your business. So okay, so this is a quick informational tool. Always remember to, by the way, to update, and to make sure that you back up all your information. I've got Updraft Plus right now, which is what I've been using to update, and I keep basically a backup of the websites on my server. But your host will probably have a built-in backup tool. Make sure you set it up and use it. Make sure you got your SSL running. I think you do, because I see it now. I see it on the top right here that you got the icon, which is great. SG Optimizer, some of these things give you extra nice tools in terms of helping your site to speed up. They'll increase your caching capacity, front-end optimization, image optimization. These are all great little tools, and this I think already came with your host, because I didn't install this. to help you increase your speed on your website and to make it faster and easier to reach. So fantastic stuff. So use it. And again, before you make changes to the site, uh, either at the host level or wherever you want to do it, back up your site. That way it does any changes you make. If you make any horrible mistake that crashes your entire website, it doesn't matter. You've got a backup. You can just turn back and rewind the clock and put the backup up, and you're ready to go again. So the key is having those backups, So make sure you're always having backups. So talk to your host. Again, most of them will have an automatic backup feature. Do that. That way you can play around with the site. Anything goes wrong and you crash your site, boom, just go back to them, click restore, and boom, your site's back. So fantastic tool. And it's good for if your site gets hacked or someone attacks you or whatever it is. It's some great tools that they might be able to have for you. So thank you very much again. It was great working with you and getting the site set up for you. And any questions, let me know. Once this site you feel everything's good to go on this site, any further changes now are going to be a whole different contract. I'm available to help if you want. But the good news is that there's tons of people that can do WordPress. So if I get run over by a train, or you want someone else's help, which is great. I mean, I'm happy for you. Or you want to do it all yourself, you can do that too. That's the power of WordPress. There's lots more options than we had before with CakePHP. And so let me know if you have any questions. Go through the site, enjoy. I would suggest taking off the block that you have on the website so people can actually start seeing it and start publicizing, my friend. Get out there and have some fun, do some good work, and let me know if you have any questions. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.